Good morning, everybody. Right now it is 8:10 a.m. on September 9th, 2025. We're going to do this one live, but we're going to record it at the same time so that we can maybe do a trade recap video later. We've got the Nasdaq futures contract up. Let's take a look at what we got going on this morning. Let's first look at news. That's always good to know. Ooh, I'm a little rusty doing the live stream stuff. Taking a look at news. We've got, let's see here, I'll throw this over on the screen. Tomorrow we've got PPI. Those are going to be big numbers, important numbers. I'm not going to say they're big numbers, but it's definitely going to move the market. And then Thursday we have CPI. So I think tomorrow and Thursday, big news days. Non-farm payroll benchmark revision. I don't even know what that is. Is that something to do with Trump not liking the NFP numbers or something, and he's now going to try to. Is there going to be new numbers that are coming out at 9 o'clock? I don't even know what that is. I should know what that is. Maybe some other people know what that is. But it's a red guy. I might have to do a little research on what that is, but that's going to come out at 9 a.m. East, or sorry, Central Time. So I'm going to be aware of that. That might move the markets. Let's take a look at technicals. Let's start with a daily chart. We looked at the weekly yesterday, so everybody kind of knows what I think about the weekly. I think, look at all these levels that I've got drawn out. We're going to clear some of these guys off, and we're just going to start new. Yes. Okay. Um, these support levels way down here, these are important levels, but they're not in play today. There's, it would take a world war for the price to move down here, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think yesterday's low is going to be important. Obviously, that also corresponds with the 20 SMA here on the daily, so that's going to be, I think, an interesting level. We can draw an uptrend here on the daily. I'm also going to draw that on the 4 hour. And then these levels up here are significant. This is Friday's high coming in here. We drew this out yesterday, and our first trade setup was this pop up here, and then we obviously retraced from it. We didn't quite get up to this level. If we do break 23,900, I think we're going to get that move up to 24,000 here, nearly up at all-time highs over here on the Nasdaq futures contract. So we'll be taking a look at that. I think that is an interesting pocket. I mean, clearly we're in this uptrend, right? Like if price wanted to drop, it had the opportunity over here. We had an opportunity here, had an opportunity here. It just isn't. It's not able to get through these levels. It's going to take some sort of, I think, either complete capitulation from buyers that it can't get back up to all-time highs, or it's going to take some sort of fundamental event to move this thing down out of this support zone here. But it's got a massive support zone. We would have to move down to this area for me to think that we're starting a significant pullback on the Nasdaq or in the markets in general. So I don't see that right now. It's tricky because you're up at all-time highs. And so you're bullish on it because price keeps moving up, but it's also pretty overextended, and you're kind of waiting for this pullback, this retracement, profit taking, or it's just overextended and it's got to come down. It's just what healthy markets do. So you're hesitant to kind of buy it up here because you're kind of expecting it to drop. You want to get it at a better price. You don't want to be chasing it up here, but at the same time, you don't want to short it because it's bullish. So it's just a tricky situation. Maybe we'll get some more clarity after PPI and CPI next week, or I'm sorry, this week, tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Anyways, these are the levels that I'm looking at right now. Trying to see if there's anything else on here that I'm missing. I don't know. I could draw this all-time high up here. Let's move down to the 4 hour. All right. I'm going to draw that trend line. The trend line does not show up on all my charts. Not the strongest trend line. We've only got, these two touches on it. So, it's wicking through right here. I'm not going to say that we're breaking this uptrend just because of that. I don't think we are. A more interesting trend line would be this downtrend line here, which we'll go and draw out on the 1 hour chart. Yeah, I mean, this is, that resistance level. You're kind of waiting for it to break through that and make another run to the upside. But yesterday we had happened is it broke up and then we just came back down. I think it was on this. No, September here. It was right here. We broke higher. We broke out of that. Sorry, it was right here. This range and it popped, and then we just came down. So yeah. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on the 4 hour. Just this little pullback here. We can move down to a hourly now. Going on the hourly. Try to draw that ascending trend line here. It's the same one we drew on the 4 hour and the daily. Coming right down to it. I wouldn't be surprised if it moves down into this lower. This is a weekly volume profile here. I don't know. I mean, where is it going to find support? You could also just say, man, if we get back above VWAP, we break out of this trend line, we get above 50, maybe we make that run up to 66. It's only 16 points, though. Jesus, it's not really that much, is it? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, then we're looking at support levels down here. You got a support level there. You've got a support level here. You got a support level here. That's just a shit ton of little lines on your screen. You got one here, touch there. So a lot of support here. It would have to. I mean, I don't think it's going to, but this would be a massive pickup right here. I think coming down here, we might just, wick, push up, come down, wick, push up, wick, push. It would have to really get down through all this for me to think that this would be an interest, a really good pickup. And that would be, 75 points right there. But that's asking a lot of it today to the downside. And again, we just talked about how it looks like it's to the up, it's a very bullish, higher time frame market price action. So, do you want to be looking to short it? I'd only be shorting it if we got below 23,700-ish level. To go long to the upside, we've just hit these levels so many times. 1, 2, 3. Hasn't been able to get through. I guess if we break 23,900, the 23,900 level, then you'd be looking at 23,000, it's 100 points up here. So I guess a couple of pockets, one to the downside, one to the upside, and then maybe a lot of chop in here to try to stay out of. I always say that, but then I always find these little scalps I want to take, little 5-10 point scalps that I see open up when the market starts moving just on order flow and delta and time and sales and price action. And it's hard to watch the chart and then not take any trades. But that's what good traders do. They just sit and be patient and wait for their setups to happen. One thing you want to be careful of is if price does come up here, wicking through this 23,900 and then just pulling back. So maybe sizing down and putting your stop somewhere way down here and seeing if that continuation goes. Maybe just trading 1 micro on the break and then maybe adding another micro on a pullback, and then trying to be able to withstand some drawdown would be a good trade setup. On that, I think if you took one full size contract, I mean, I'm only trading this take profit trader evaluation down here. I've got a few more of them, but I'm just trading this one today. You've only got $2,000 in drawdown. So you take one full, you take a mini and the thing drops from 900, let's say it comes down to 48, kind of back in here somewhere, it's $1,000. It's half a year account. So you probably don't want to do that. Yeah. I mean, you gotta, obviously consider risk management, how much you're willing to risk on the trade. This evaluation, I only paid like $90 for it. There's a coupon code below if you're interested in doing take profit, which I really like take profit. I've never had any problems with take profit. I've had problems with 2 other prop firms, which I'm not going to mention, but they've been a fucking nightmare, and I'm never going to trade with them again. but one of them I'm actually not allowed to trade with again because I pulled out. I mean, it wasn't a ton of money, but I pulled out quite a bit of money, and then they said they weren't going to let me do any more evaluations. So that was that with them. It's kind of like being banned from a casino, I guess, But you know, it is what it is. But these prop firms, particularly the ones I left a comment this morning, particularly the ones that offer really cheap evaluations. Those are the ones that um, are typically not going to pay out. That or they'll pay out minimums, but if you really get good and you really start to build up an account size, they're going to find ways to not pay you out. The rules are so convoluted and messy that they'll always find a way to find an excuse not to pay out. They may give you the first one, kind of like a casino. You go in, you get your first win, just to kind of keep you hooked. But if you really stick with it for a long term, they'll find ways not to pay you out. So I like Take Profit Trader. I like TRADEIFY. Those guys have always paid me out. So they're also more expensive though. So that's the trade off. If you're paying $100, prop firms that are charging more are typically going to have more cash on hand to pay out. Prop firms that are offering $20 evaluations probably aren't going to have cash to really pay you out when it's all said and done. So back to the charts. All right. Yeah, got a couple trade setups there. We'll wait to see. I think that if you guys are trading, this one is a really nice one here. And then to the upside, the break of 23,900. You need this thing to break though. Again, it's been a lot of moves to the upside. We just haven't gotten through it. So, if you're looking for a tiny scalp to the upside, maybe the break of 23, maybe the break of this trend line, 23,850. But I think you need to be getting out at 23,866. It's only about 15 points. And that would be, taking the whole move, 15 points. So tricky, tricky, tricky. Let's look at Delta real quick. Delta, we are positive Delta. Interesting Delta going on here. Delta made a higher high. Price, however, made a lower high. Might be a bullish sign, might be a bullish sign. Not saying it is, but you have to let the market open. I've been burned so many times trading pre-market that I am not allowed to trade pre-market anymore. So, but that is an interesting observation. I'm just looking at yesterday's volume profile. Large volume coming in down here. Is price going to want to get sucked back down into this level? Maybe, and then maybe find support. Again, all these horizontal orange lines are support levels that we drew out on higher time frames. Want to be looking at those. Maybe price comes down here, and then we see delta divergence, where delta puts in a new high. We come in here, delta puts in a new high as price is making a lower or a lower low. Yeah. Okay. And that would be that delta. That divergence around one of these support areas might signal to start building a long position. So we'll take a lookies at all that stuff. I can just draw a descending trend line here. And we got to wait for the market to open. Be watching Delta. Again, what I do is I got a dotted line here that I move down and I'll put it wherever Delta opens. And I like to see price staying, in the direction that I'm trading. I like to trade in the direction where Delta is going. So if Delta is above the open, above zero, I'm looking to go longs. If it's below zero, below the open, I'm looking to go shorts. And then you just want price action and your support and resistance levels to correlate with that. So yeah, that's all I got. I hope you guys have a good trading day. I'll post a trade recap video after I trade the session this morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Take care, and I will see you guys here in a little bit. Bye. Hey everybody, so we are back right now. It is 9:45 a.m. Got the Nasdaq futures contract up here still. Yeah, it turned out to be kind of a bearish day going on. We've come through some of these support levels that we drew out pre-market. We've come now to the final support level, which is holding to the to the tick. It's holding right here, and we're starting to break up higher. It'll be interesting to see what it wants to do here. Um, but I wanted to point out a couple things. One, we saw some really interesting delta divergence going on in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the session open, but it was actually on the ES contract. So I'm going to try to pull that up here. Okay, so you're looking at the ES contract over here. And I need to get to the session open. This is a 2000 tick chart with cumulative delta going on down here. I do not, that dotted lines up here, but I didn't move it down with the session open, but that's not really the point I'm trying to make. This was interesting for me coming in right on the open on the ES. And what you can look at is right on the open, which is right here. We opened below zero on the open, and then price started stair stepping up for the first 10 minutes or so. But if you look at Delta, Delta's just moving down the whole time. It's really an indication, it's bearish order flow coming in, but bullish price action. And that Delta divergence would have provided a really nice setup if you were able to take advantage of it. You also can see over here how Delta's just moved down the entire day on the ES. So probably a lot of bulls got trapped up here, and now we're seeing that bull trap playing out. There was that news at 9 o'clock. I didn't even look to see what it was, but clearly the market reacted negatively to it. And we can look and see what happened with the NQ. I got to get my bearings here with OBS. I'm still not quite back in the video recording mode here. On the NQ, remember we drew out these multiple levels of support on the NQ. To the downside, we had a level of support here, 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 and here, and we've just cut through all of them. And what we said, pre-market was this was the last big support level. If we can get through that, then we're probably dropping all the way down here, and we are wicking away from it right now. So yeah, I was literally just sitting here waiting for this to break, and now it's holding. I don't know. There's a low volume node here. If we get through this LVN, we may be looking at a bounce back to the upside. I'm up 138 bucks on the day. Remember, I'm trading micros, so you can read into that whatever you want. Not trading the full minis, so it's 1/10 of the size of the normal contracts. There was something else I thought I wanted to point out. I can't remember what. We can take a look at the price action on NQ for today, see if we see anything. I like this LVN holding right here. The LVN can hold. We get back through down this support level. I think we're probably going to drop another leg. It may just fall into the abyss. But it's holding at the moment. Now, if this here breaks at 765 and we start to move back up, I think that would be bullish, but we'll see what happens. Right now it's 9:50. I don't like trading past 10:30 a.m. Let's take a look at Delta here, see if we see anything. The Delta divergence on the NQ is not as prominent as it was on the ES, which was just glaring to me. What was going on? Remember, our bullish scenario on the NQ is we had to get past up 50, and we thought we'd get that move up to 67. We pushed past 50, which was the break of a descending pre-market trend line, and there was no follow through on it. We saw that right on the open, the break of that line, and we just no follow through, no momentum to the upside, and then Delta's just dropped. We tried getting through it, a couple times, and then it just gave up. And then we had news come out at 9, which was right here, and there was a move to the upside, and then we've just dumped since then. Coming down to that last key level of support again will be really interesting to see what it wants to do down here. If we break, I'll probably end up taking a short, but we'll see what happens. Delta is just so negative. The only thing I'd be looking to do right now is short it. I'm not looking to buy it with cumulative delta the way it is. That being said, I may go fill my coffee, take a break for a minute. I hope you guys had a good trading day. I'm going to be back live streaming at 8:10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. We'll do a pre-market prep, draw out some levels look at what's in the news. We've got PPI tomorrow coming out, so that's going to be a market mover. Yeah, hope to see you guys back here on the channel. Thanks for tuning in. See you later. Bye.